Entertainment Network.
Iron Reese. The talk is still real. We still on the corner. We gonna touch on some topics.
SKN, we got topics. Let's have a discussion. The people got questions. The people want answers. Yeah, we got topics. Let's have a discussion. The people got questions. The people want answers. Yeah, it's real talking. It's real talk. It's real talking. It's real talk. It's real talking. Real talk. It's real talking. Real talk. Yeah.
Iron Reese. The talk is still real. We still on the corner. We gonna touch on some topics.
It's real talking. It's real talk. It's real talking. It's real talk. It's real talking. Real talk. It's real talking. Real talk. Yeah.
Check it out. You know, in tune.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Soundcreator.com. I'm here with Siobhan, filling in for
Chef.
Ira once again. Sorry, I'm here with Chef, filling in for Ira and Reese once again. I get a different little flavor.
Yes,
Good night, Chef.
variety is the spice of life. I'm
Mm-hmm.
good. I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm all right. I was just on with Banky,
Oh,
but yeah, I'm busy tonight.
busy,
Yeah,
making your rounds.
busy all day. Had to listen to the premiere. Was there last night. Didn't see Darc, and the project is
You,
over
you,
in his
you went to the.
constituency.
Ah, how?
Yeah,
I guess
I
I'll
was
hear about
entertained.
your take on that later on.
Yeah, I was entertained. I was entertained. I don't even have to ask no question again. Yeah, well, we're gonna interview Darc tonight. Mr. Darc Browne. Um, Similar to Mr. Cornelius, who we interviewed last.
Yes,
Mr. Browne has dreams, he has endeavors, and I think that he will impact on our society. He certainly wants to contribute and has been contributing to the society.
definitely. I think he has been a
So,
model youth, one of the names that you hear and you know, okay, that's an upstanding young man.
well, I tell you, that compliments. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this evening we're going to hear from Mr. Browne. So you could bring in
Oh,
Mr.
yeah.
Browne and
I
I.
didn't know that.
Good night. I must say, I think Alan has oversold what is in front
Yeah,
of you. But
I tell
good
you.
night, guys. I'm very happy to be here. I've been a fan of the show for a very long time. Not my usual host when I watch, but nonetheless, I'm happy to be here. And what Alan said, he said aspirations and dreams.
Yes,
Yeah,
Everybody,
yeah.
I think I'm not alone in that. I think there's a lot of people who have aspirations and dreams.
that is
Definitely,
true.
but I also said that I feel like you're gonna affect the society and contribute to the society. I did not say in what capacity, sir.
But I also think that what you must say is that everybody has a part to play. Mine
Okay,
might be a little bit more out there, but everybody got a
or
part
it
to play.
might be, or it might be. But you're gonna have a secretary as well, and you're gonna remember the secretary got to give the message.
You know what you're talking about.
Oh, you're okay. All right, okay, Mr. Brown.
I have no clue. That one
Oh,
flew right over my head.
I apologize. I apologize.
Maybe the
But you
maybe
were
you will
speaking.
land at the
You were
new
speaking.
airport.
So introduce yourself. Let the public know who is Mr. Darc
Well,
Brown.
I think you guys have you hit the nail on the head. There isn't really much more than what is in front of you. My name is Darc Browne. I am, how do I describe myself? I am, I'm a young, how old am I? 23? I don't feel that way these days, but, 23 years old. I'm from here in Nevis. I'm from the lovely parish of St. James. You know, I grew up here in Nevis. I went to primary school at the Violet or Jefferson Nichols Primary School up until about grade 3. And then I migrated to the States for a few years. I came back when I was in second form, and I attended the Charlestown Secondary School, where I finished my high school education, and then I went on to England, where I attended King's College Taunton for my sixth form, and then I went to Cardiff University, where I pursued a bachelor's degree in strength conditioning, rehab, and massage. I am currently the massage therapist and strength and conditioning trainer for the Leeward Islands franchise team. And yeah, also other endeavors, what else do I do? I play my part. I play my part. Let me say that. Yes.
So
That's
humble.
as best as I
Tanya
can
just
do.
told me that you are Lewis. Your mother is a Lewis, so that is a big accomplishment
Yes,
as
my
well.
mother is a Lewis, yes. But she can't say my
Mr.
mother is a Lewis. I am a Lewis, okay? Not my
But
mother. I am a Lewis.
listen, Mr. Brown, you
So
could
see,
center yourself in the screen,
families need.
please.
Oh, sorry.
Cause
Oh,
you have, yeah. Let
Better?
everybody see the full beard. All right,
Okay.
Mr. James, you there now.
But yeah, that's as much as I can say about myself. I'm not really one to talk much about myself. I feel like it's important that everybody play their part and just keep it pushing and yeah.
Oh, you're gonna learn. 'Cause you see, now I know you're 23. Oh, you got a lot of time, but you're gonna
You feel
learn.
so?
Oh, you got it's a story. No care what business you're going in, promotion is a story. So you're gonna get to, you're gonna let people
Well,
in,
who
even if
knows?
it's a
We
little
have
bit.
how long normally is this show?
2 hours.
Hour and a
We
half?
get until 10.
2 hours? See?
Yeah.
We get a lot of stories in 2 hours. Get a lot of stories in 2 hours.
okay, from your humble introduction, you mentioned that you had been educated in quite a few places, Nevis, the USA, and also in England. Um, what would you say about the education you received in Nevis compared to some of the other places that you've been? You've had, I think, a unique opportunity in that.
I don't know if I'm going to be. I don't know if this opinion is popular, but I feel like Nevis gave me a very, very good foundation. Um, I would be lying if I didn't say that going into the States, being in the first world and, being in a certain environment that I was in, I don't really feel as though that I maximized on my foundation in which I had. Leaving primary school and leaving VOJ and going into the States. I came back and again, like I said, I didn't really fulfill my true potential in high school. Um, I was one of those guys who wanted to make a lot of jokes and lime. I was a big limer in high school. I was a big limer in high school. Um, but nonetheless, I had a very good foundation, and I think that is a testament to the educational system here in Nevis. It has its flaws, but I still feel as though that it gives children a very good foundation, and I think I had that in terms of the fundamental skills to learn. I think that was really good here for me. It's different, yes. Um, like I said, the States wasn't the best for me. These big classrooms and the influences. And like I said, I think at that age, the age that I went to the States, I was about 8, so it's still very impressionable. Um, and like I said, I don't think I resorted to the most positive ones, but I think all of that is a part of the story. Um, Moving on from there, coming back, like I said, I didn't really maximize my full potential in high school, because I wanted to be the man on the block banging jokes and, you know, saying hello to all the ladies and stuff like that. You know? But then when I went to sixth form, and I think, I was fortunate enough to get that opportunity. My sole motivation at that point was actually to play cricket. I went, I was 17, so I left Nevis when I was 17, and I went to Kings, and my aspiration at that time was to be a cricketer. I wasn't born with the God given talent like Mr. Powell, he doesn't really speak much about it, but from all accounts and all the stories I heard that he was a very good cricketer. Um, like I said, and at that point it was a culture shock. I went from being in an environment where I could have relaxed and stuff to being in an environment where excellence was the bare minimum. Like you had to strive to be the best. And I think being in that environment really motivated me to push myself. Because here it was, I wasn't comfortable. I definitely wasn't comfortable. A lot of the times I was the only black person in my classes. So that in itself gave me a bit more motivation to, showcase that, I'm a small island boy, but I got a little brain, and doing so in a way that still brought out that side of me that wanted to make jokes and say hello to everyone. When I went to university. Unfortunately, I did my second and third year during that wave of COVID. So a lot of my learning then shifted to online, and then I was at home, which didn't really create the best for me because then I had the time zone to factor in and stuff like that. So my second and third year were actually quite difficult for me. But like I said, that foundation that I got here in Nevis, I feel like really helped me to finish and finish strong. Um, and then came back. My goal was always to come back. I love being here. I love being a part of Nevision culture. I love being home with my family. My grandparents now are very much up in age, so I try to be home as much to share in their stories. Like I said, I like jokes. The old people got a lot of jokes and a lot of sayings. So and like I said, I always this has always been my settling spot. This is where I feel most alive. This is where I want to make my contribution, whether big or small. If there's anything that I'm going to do, I want Nevis to be at the forefront of it all. And yeah, I've given you quite a mouthful there, but I hope that some bits of it digest.
Well, I
Okay.
want to pinpoint one part. You said you received the opportunity to go to King's College. How did you get that opportunity?
My father.
Okay.
Um,
So
I
it
actually,
wasn't a
I
program or anything.
no, unfortunately not. I
Okay.
actually got the idea to go to boarding school from my then friend, who was taking a similar route, and I saw it as an option for myself. Um, so yeah, we were good then. I think they were going off, and it looked like a really good option. Really, the co-education part of it, how they mix the sports and the academics, to be somewhere new. I saw it as a challenge, and I went to my father with the conversation, and he thought it was a good idea as well to play some good cricket and to really catch up because I started playing cricket late. So I needed to be in an environment where I was playing a lot and was around coaches and stuff like that, so for me to catch up. And yeah, my father gave me that support, and I'm forever grateful for that. And now I think we have two young boys who just left this year to go off to England to study. I think it's Scarborough College. So some similar people. Well, I took that road. The other people taking that road now. Who knows? I don't know if anyone has been following my story and they see that and they want to go and do that as well. But it's a good option, and it's something that I feel like should be marketed a bit more because these schools actually do a lot of scholarships, whether it be music, whether it be academics, whether it be sports, drama, well, whatever it is. I feel as though that we need to show kids that there's an alternative, and give them as much options as possible to thrive because the world is changing, the world is becoming more challenging, We no longer, it's not just us competing for jobs anymore, you know. The world is very small and we're all interconnected now with things like technology and the internet and stuff. So it's very important that we give kids the tools in order to facilitate them moving forward in the world and as it moves.
What I wanted to pinpoint and from what you said, but you said that there was a different motivation when you went there. They were like, you have to be excellent. How did they do that?
Well, one, I had to wear a suit every day. And
Oh,
I remember, mind you, I'm 17. You it was called a common room. That's where everyone would meet on a Monday morning before we started the day. And I came downstairs. I'm in my suit and I have my tie in my hand and I'm here like, what's going on here? Because I just thought that I can just go to class, be lost, walk around the campus, and not necessarily have the help. But when I got there, it was all put together. I came. Um, People knew my interests already. So it's almost like, I'm coming, I'm a cricketer. You put me with somebody in the house to be my tour guide who's into cricket. I guess that helped me to familiarize myself and to feel a lot more comfortable a lot more quickly. And then when you step into the classrooms, none of my classes had more than 12 people in them. And there was a reason behind that because they wanted kids to be able to get enough attention. And I saw it. They wanted the teacher ratio to be a lot less than what we would see here. I think sometimes we find ourselves in classrooms with 30 students to one teacher. That's very difficult. I mean, I do SNC, and if I have groups of 30 and it's just me, it is a struggle. So yeah, I think going there and just seeing that everyone was consistently pushing the yardstick, a bit further, a bit further, a bit further. Even in terms of the cricket, not just education, I really, really, really push myself. A lot of my friends from school have gone on to play professional cricket. One of them actually played for the Patriots this year, being Will Smead. Will Smead and I went to the same school and shared a few programs together. Um, so, like I said, it was just seeing how motivated people were to continue to be better. And nobody was making jokes during class time. And, it's very odd when you're trying to make a joke and nobody taking you on, I don't like to be ignored. So, like I said,
so, so the motivation was more or less coming from the environment of being
yeah,
around
the
these
environment
people
played a
to
massive,
try and
massive part.
excel.
And that's something that I realize here, or we need to do. We need to create environments where people feel more to push themselves.
Okay. Um, the next thing I wanted to key in on was you mentioned when you went away, there were distractions, first world distractions. So for
Yes.
somebody, a young cricketer who is gonna go out there 17, and at that time, oh, that's a wonderful time.
I'm not too
So
sure what you mean.
what are, oh, you're not sweating up 17? Well, at 17, the hormones are raging. Oh, Lord. Yeah, 17 is a good time. So,
Mm,
when you go out there, what are some of these first world distractions and what are some of the ways you could counteract them so that you stay on the path, you stay focused?
I think what's important is for you to know what you're there for. If you're just going through the motion, it's very easy to get caught up in different influences. Um, I think what helps is having a very good support system. I have a very strong support system behind me, with friends, and a lot of my friends are older than me, and I have some older cousins that play very big mentorship roles to me. But I think it's important for you to know what you're there for. It's important for you to be secure in yourself as well, to know who you are, so that you're not necessarily picking up new traits and being. It's almost like you got this thing like I've never seen it before, so I want to try it. I think it's important to not get as excited when things are new, but more play more of an observing role. I think that really helps me, and I think what also helped was being okay with being uncomfortable. And I've said this time and time again on the show with Mr. Manners and Devon. I think what really changed it for me is when I said to myself, I can't change this, so I'm just going to have to make the best of this situation. And there were times when it was really hard, and you just have to tell yourself that, hey, watch here, somebody made an investment in you. This is you investing in yourself and how far you want to take it. And I feel like it's important for you to kind of have set little goals for yourself, little targets. And mine at that point was, how much can I utilize this opportunity to land me as close as where I want to be? And I didn't make it as a professional cricketer, but I'm in that setup in a different capacity, and to me, well, I would like to say an even more meaningful capacity, because I'm now able to share my knowledge and my experience and my services with different people. I go as far as to say that this year I was the Leewards under 17 manager. Never in my life I thought at 23 I'd be managing kids at 16, 15 years old. Same like Alan said. At that point, you have a lot going on with your hormones and what's not. Your attitude. How you relate to people, what you think is important. And I felt that at that point too, you got to this kind of stage where you're kind of rebelling as well. Because you're getting out there, you feel like you're an adult. And like I said, it was just me in England. I didn't have any of my parents around. So, it was okay to feel as though, like, me and nobody here, I could kind of do what I want. But no, I think it's important for you to kind of set small targets for yourself and to really, really ask yourself, hey, what am I here for and how best do I make the best of the situation?
Okay, I wanted to ask a question about the cricket. You mentioned that that was your uh, reason initially for going to England to do sixth form, and then you also mentioned that you had one of your classmates play for the SKN Patriots recently. For any up and coming cricketer, teenaged, would you recommend that as a route to getting into cricket rather than staying in Nevis and doing West Indies cricket selections?
I mean, I think they both can go hand in hand. All the West Indies junior tournaments happen in the summer or during school holidays, so it is possible for you to do both. Alan's brother actually did both because he went to Millfield and he still played for Leeward under 19, West Indies under 19, and those kind of things. So, I mean, it is possible. Um, is one better than the other? I mean, sometimes you just got to ask yourself, well, one, there is a there is a sacrifice financially to make a move like that. Whether or not you have that support is another thing, or whether or not we, as a community now, could see how important this can be in terms of our players and building their capacity to be international cricketers if we're going to invest in that. I wouldn't say any is better than any. I feel as though that, you know, one just allows you to not have to choose for a little while longer. As I feel like
So you
here,
would say, sorry, I
yeah,
was gonna ask if
No,
you would say the training in Nevis on par with what you got in England then?
no, because there's you went to a school where al- almost all the budget went towards sports and the facilities are very much international standard. I remember for the 2019 World Cup, all the teams then when they were playing in Taunton actually used our indoor facility as their training facility. So, you know, it's not the same, but I feel like we're making strides here in Nevis. It's getting better. But like I said, I don't think any out where any you just got to ask yourself, well, what sacrifices are you able to make and how best do you maximize on the opportunity if it is that you do get it?
I'm
Because
only
we're
not.
still, one thing I must say, we are still producing cricketers, although we don't have these same said institutions, so that goes for something. Whether or not you want to look at, the gap between youth cricket and professional cricket, and how do we close that gap? That's another conversation. But in terms of talent and exposure, you still get that because a lot of these kids don't play or have the ability to say that they played in a regional youth team, even if you go to England, So we still been producing 3 to 4 cricketers in every regional Leeward Islands team, and we've always had someone in and around the West Indies under 19 setup as well. So I mean, we may not have it all, but we're still able to compete, which is good.
How many cricketers do we have on the professional team?
Right now,
Yeah, yes. Not yesterday, right now.
we have 3 on the professional team, and we have another one who is playing what do you want to call franchise cricket. So in a total, I would say 4, 4.
Which is the one who playing
But you,
franchise
you can't
cricket?
look at it. You can't look at it as right now, because remember now these things are given on a year basis and so there's really no sort of there's no sort of
You read
stability in it.
one good job out at any moment for real.
Exactly, but we still there. We're still there. We're still being represented.
I'm just asking if we're producing, and we have people who recently made the debut who look like they're gonna be there for a while as well. What do you think of the system
Yeah,
right
I
now?
mean we have young Carlon Tuckett who's in the West Indies Academy. I feel like that's a tremendous accomplishment, to be there in that setup, and they recently beat Ireland in the little series that they had. So we're being represented. Might be one, but again, you know, Carlon might inspire somebody else to go and continue to take the cricket serious and just wait the time. I think that's just the thing with Caribbean cricket. You just gotta be patient and stick to it.
But I think you mentioned the gap between youth cricket and professional cricket, and I think that's a very real thing. Not many people have the ability to stick around past the youth cricket. I mean, we have a Patriots team, and you don't even see young players being filtered onto that team. So it's kind of difficult to see how staying in Nevis and going that route
But I
provides
feel as
as
though
much
that we,
opportunity.
it's good and well to say that, but I feel like coming from us in this forum doesn't really mean much because at the end of the day, we still have politicians who parade the same CPL games and support them and give their full support and take pictures. I mean, and if it is that we're not asking for anything, and I feel as though that your name is your most powerful asset. I don't know if anybody else agrees with that. But if it is that the team is bearing my name, I think as though that there should be some sort of benefit to my people. Um, we haven't seen that, you know. But again, like I said, those conversations can start at any time. So let's
I
hope
agree.
that they're listening to my perspective. Am I right in calling the show my perspective?
Yes, that is it's Dark Brown's perspective. Yes.
Yeah, so I think again, it's all well and good for us to sit here and say things, but again, if we're going to allow people to use our names and not have a direct sort of interaction with them and say, hey, look, this is where we are lacking. How can you help us to bridge this gap? And it's not necessarily that you're looking for them to, just because you bear the name means you must bring in people. Yes, we have people that are capable, but yes, we have people that have also been ignored. However, let's not talk about the negatives, and I feel as though that sometimes you have to change the angle of conversations in order to get what it is that you want. I have a gap with people who are, young cricketers going into professional cricket. How can you assist me with that? If it is that you come a week earlier and you do specialized coaching camps, if it is that you can sponsor 2 players, because a lot of these franchises are now linked where an owner for the Patriots may have a team in the Indian Premier League. They also might have a team in the Abu Dhabi League and, these sort of things. So, you know, how best do we utilize these people who bear our names for it to be some sort of benefit to us on Ireland?
Got you.
on the professional level, and places earned and not given. Wouldn't this be
Then you also
contradictory
must
to
ask yourself, you also must ask yourself, Alan, and I think that sometimes we are a bit unrealistic in our expectations on how things work. And remember that the Nevis in itself is not a first class team. So when it is that you talk about representation, the Leeward Islands, which is the first class setup, is still represented. Yes, we would love for our players to have that same set representation, and I think that we do have more than capable cricketers. However, like I said, if if I am able to ignore you for years and to give you what it is that I want to give you, well, when you're going to change your your ability to think, you're just going to continue to take my jersey when I present it to you with your name on the back. You're just going to go into the box and smile and hula la and hooray. No, we want to see some sort of tangible rewards for you bearing our names. And that's a conversation that needs to happen. We have a very young federal government, and I feel as though that they still have time to make their mark. They got 4 years, and I mean that conversation can start at any time. We're going into a new year. The franchise is still based in St. Kitts. I think that it's worth us having a conversation and for us to really see what it is that's going on. I think too much times we reflect on the negative of certain situations and not necessarily look at how we can, angle our conversations a bit differently for us to achieve something. Because at the end of the day, if you're getting nothing and you give me a little something, it's better than what you was giving me before. It may not be what I deserve, and it may not be what is fair, but something is a work in the direction of where we're trying to get, which is better.
Are you involved in cricket in Nevis currently? And in what
I
capacity, if so?
I am. I still play. I I play for Highlights Cricket Club. I also play a sort of managerial role as well. I think I play everything. I play team physio. I play I play player, water boy, manager on the day, everything. And then apart from that, me and my friend Terrell Wallace she started something called a Wallace Sports Management, which since I've come back from school, I've been involved in. We they, because I wasn't here at the time, her and Tyler Martin started doing Friday Night Lights, which was a T20 game between a group of players, and we were utilizing the players that were based in the franchise in St. Kitts for them to come over and for us to kind of put two teams together and they play against one another in an effort to put our talent that I said that we have on display. Um, Again, it wasn't the easiest, and I think a lot of challenges that couldn't be rectified in a short space of time caused us to sort of have to pivot. Last year, we did something, we were trying to emulate the Berry Hubble Trophy, where we did a team from Nevis versus a team from St. Kitts, and we dubbed it the Sugar Mass Cup. I think it was victorious last year. It has now evolved into a 2-week tournament with the help of Rashid Eddy in St. Kitts. The final for that is actually tomorrow, where there will be the same Wally Sports management team versus Maximum Strikers, which will be at Warner Park. I think it starts at 6. Well, like I said, I'm not a part of the Nevis Cricket Association in an official capacity, but I'm still trying to play my part in the little way that I could at the time that I'm here. Yeah, I think that's mostly what I do.
You mentioned that you can't be a part of the association because of your current job. Can you tell the
Well, I
people
wouldn't necessarily say
what that
can't.
job
I
is?
think it's just something. It's just more of what
Yeah,
I,
yeah.
that's a personal thing. I don't feel as though that you're trying to get players to where you are. I think somebody else could
Mhm.
I could leave space for somebody else to do something. Huh? And I'm not here, and it wouldn't be fair. And I think any position that you take up, you have to be able to commit your time and your efforts. And
Hundred percent.
I don't like to put my interest in things and just say, hey, well, I am this and I am that. No, if I can put my efforts and my presence into it 100%, then I leave it for somebody else, and I'm quite happy with my trajectory right now. I'm there when they come in, I help, and I'm always here for a conversation as well. It may not be in terms of the cricket specific stuff, but in order to get you, fit and keep you injury free and back on the park and stuff like that, I'm always available. I just feel like those positions are better left for other people.
Gotcha.
Darc, I want to ask you a question about politics. A
Politics.
question why? Yeah, I heard you speak because you don't make reference to speaking with Mr. Manners, and I was listening to you speak to Mr. Manners. Oh, you better
What?
believe it. Every word. I got a book full of questions right here. So.
Well, I
And,
must say,
and
right, that you guys, wait, before you continue, I want
go
to
ahead.
add to the listening public, right, that this program has had some very, very, very good people, and the questions are often very, very difficult. So I'm asking, as a first timer, you know, for you to
None of that.
exercise a bit of, no, none of that. Okay,
None of
fine.
that.
I
None of
want,
that.
You know.
when I want to ask you about
Well,
what you
I
said.
was told as a child that if you want something, you should ask. So I was asking,
Ask.
and if it can't be granted, then fine, fair enough.
Our obligation is to the audience, and there could be a very tough audience, so we can't go easy, no type.
And you know what they say? You gotta give people what they want.
Yes.
You had mentioned that what we need right now for the country to move forward is not present in this current crop of politicians. And and I didn't hear you elaborate, you know. So I wanted you to extend and to let me know what it is. Do
But
you
if
think
I'm
is?
not mistaken, and correct me if I'm wrong, you live in Nevis,
Mhm.
right?
Definitely, yeah.
I think we drive on the same roads, we experience the same sort of
The,
inconsistencies. So I don't
the
feel as though
bypass
that
will
anything
fix.
that, huh?
The bypass will fix.
Well, I don't live in town. I live in St. James, and my road is not as good as the road on the bypass. I don't have the
Um,
luxury to drive on a. I don't have a luxury like you as a tongue man to drive on a highway, at mornings.
this year, man, when the road is diverted, I am getting new road.
Okay. Yes. That is a statement that I feel like is what I would call a call to action to politicians. I think politicians have forgotten their place in society. I think that it's high time, not just people, but I feel like young people start to hold politicians accountable. And when I say accountable, I don't mean accountable because of personal gain or personal interest. I think we need to hold them accountable because at the end of the day, Nevis doesn't end with I and me. I will hopefully have kids, and I would hope that my kids have kids, So, what is being left for them? And I also think that it's important to mention that, you know, as somebody who is young and somebody who is trying to make I wouldn't even say a difference. I don't see what I do as a difference. I see what I do as a contribution because it takes more than just me to make a difference. And I feel like sometimes it's almost like a slap in the face, the kind of things that they say and the kind of things that they do. Because here it is that, you hold the balance of the power. And when I say the power, I mean that you have the financial ability to do certain things. I mean, I could start something and it could be a good initiative, but oftentimes in terms of sustainability, myself, I don't have the ability to make things sustainable in a sense. Because, like I said, a lot of what I do is from just my little interest and the little money that I have in my piggy bank. It's not much, but I try to stretch it. And when will that happen? I don't know. We've seen displays of politicians being very disrespectful to one another. We've seen, instances where the prime minister is in front of you and you feel like it's okay for what we say colloquially, heist up your frock and put on a display for the world to see. And I think that sometimes we have to realize that I might come here and me and Alan might not agree, but it's not for me to then go and say how I feel about Alan right here for the world to see. And I think sometimes that people don't understand that, our politics is on the global stage. Our leaders are global names. As you can see, Dr. Drew is currently, I don't know if he's done back. They don't leave and don't say nothing and come back and don't say nothing. So I have to wait for the pictures to be posted. But he's in Dubai. He's talking on behalf of our names. I saw a picture today with him and Kamala Harris, the Vice President of the United States. So it's just to show you that, these things follow you. And when people go and they type in speech by boom, 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 presentation made by boom, 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 is that the country that we want to put on display? No. Because then if I can't do it, if I can't be the best example that I could be, and I understand that we're all human, but if I can't consistently be the best that I can be, how can I expect someone to want to emulate me? And I look at, probably this current crop is not the best to look at and say that, these are the people in society that you strive to be like. But there was a point in time where I looked at people like Mr. Amri, for instance, Mr. Parry. I'm too young to have any memory of Mr. Daniel.
Neither me.
So, but like I said, I remember, and the one thing that I can always say is that every time Mr. Amri saw me, he asked me about my grandparents.
You
And
better believe it.
I oftentimes wondered. I said, I wonder if he know my name.
No, watch out.
And
Listen, this is the great thing about Van Samry. Van Samry would, hey, what's going on? And
How's
then
your
you go down
mother?
the road. You go about 2 seconds down the road, you will get it with them down, but you won't get it with them. As you said, when you're down the road, and you're gonna get them sound.
yeah, and I
That's
just feel
politics.
as though that I look at everyone and I don't try to single out people because, like I say, it's a collective effort, and I think that we are all human. But I think that it is time that somebody say, hey, I have to better the next generation. People who are going to have the privilege of being politicians, they must see the standard here and try to push it. Remember earlier I spoke about pushing that yardstick, being better, and I feel as that is what this current crop needed to do and has not done. And this is what I'm hoping that the current Labour administration will do, seeing as though they're newer to it and they're younger. So
My
that's it.
question, do you plan to be a part of the new crop of politicians who would come in and change the current dynamic?
Um, I don't think that that's a call for me to make. I think earlier we said we give the people what they want. That's something that I said earlier, and I don't think that is up to me. I mean, you know, I wouldn't just come and present myself like I know it all and what's not. But if people do feel as though that I have some views and some ideas that they feel could represent their needs and interests, then fine. But in terms of, is that an ambition of mine right now? Is that something that I think about? In the back of my mind, yeah, in the distant future. But I think that I'm quite happy where I am right now.
You are
I
well
feel like it's important to
positioned
build.
to
Yeah, I feel like
to take on the
it's
role.
important to build your professional life, and I don't want people to be looking at politics as a career, because politics is not a career. It's a service to people, and you have to be able to give something, and you can't give something when you ain't got nothing at all. And I mean, I'm a young man, I still have a lot of life in front of me, like Alan said, even though I don't feel so, even though I don't feel so. I wake up at mornings and it's a bit harder to get out of bed every day, but yet, I still feel as though that, I feel like whenever people start to do, and I would say their duty, because I spoke to it earlier, Nevis gave me a lot. Nevis gave me my foundation, and I feel as though that my foundation has played a significant part in where I am today. And if it is that my small little contribution in the ways that I have done so far is labeled as, me wanting to go into that. No, I see this as my duty, and in the future, if that opportunity does come, I'm not one to shy away from things. However, that's very far behind in my mind.
Yeah,
Far
man,
behind in
you
my
got
mind.
you got a couple more terms at the premiere to see before that they coming into the view.
And
The
guess what?
question was,
And that might be a good thing. I say fine wine gets better the longer it's aged. So who knows? We might see something better in the future. That is my
maybe
optimism, I must say.
were you trying to say the premiere gonna get better?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that
Hey,
it is a possible.
Darc Browne will get better.
Um,
He's saying that Darc Browne will be better.
these characteristics are traits that you see that are lacking currently in our politicians.
Mm-hmm.
For example, being able to work together while having opposing philosophies. You think that there's any way that we could foster this in a sustainable manner?
But it's like I said, I think sometimes we need to take the egos out of it. And some people may say to yourself, well, hey, well, I've been here before. Who is you to just come and want to tell me how the ship should go? But sometimes it's important for us to recognize that it's not about us and our personal, ambitions and our ego. Sometimes you gotta put that to the side and work out, okay, how best could we collaborate? Because we ain't gonna agree on everything. And, you know, I don't agree with a lot of things with the different relationships that, I have with different people, working wise, professional wise, anything. But you kind of have to find a middle ground because at the end of the day, is whatever relationship to serve you? No. Oftentimes it's something better, it's a partnership. And I can't be looking at what I could gain and what I can't gain. And you can also be doing that. But I feel like it's what I said earlier in terms of changing the angle of the conversation to achieve what it is that you want to achieve. I don't think that it is something that people are open to doing. And a lot of people are afraid of accountability as well. So that's another thing. But it's something to strive towards, and hopefully conversations like this, when you hear, a young person like me, like Alan said, a young person like me, say these things, it might cause you to do some introspection and, do a little better. So let's hope.
Okay, I
I
got
think
an
one
idea
of the
for you.
ways that, oh, sorry, go
Oh,
ahead,
guy,
Alan.
guy, guy.
No,
Okay,
I was gonna say, I think what, sorry,
guy.
there's a
So
delay. I'm sorry.
that I want to float a little idea by you. Because I think I also heard you when you were speaking to Mr. Manners. You talk about your debate background. Even though you wasn't debating, you say you had a wonderful time during the debating, but you was on the sideline. I could imagine. But anyway, what would you think of an idea? Because I feel like the current set of politicians are afraid of each other from a debate perspective.
You think
Don't you
so?
feel like,
I don't
yeah,
think it's a matter of. I don't think it's a matter of afraid. I don't want to use the word afraid. I think that
okay, go ahead. What word would you
it
use?
is it is it is what I would classify as the easy way out. I don't think it's not fear. I think it's more ego. Ain't fear. Ain't fear.
That that is that is fear. You listen. You could tell me that it's based on ego. I,
Because no,
I,
no. But again, what is there to be afraid of? Okay, if we look at the current crop, right?
have you heard Alexis Jeffers speak English?
Yes, I have.
But we're speaking about the debate. Have you heard the representative for St. Paul's with Hassan have you?
I'm not here to do that, and I feel like you're picking on a side.
No, no,
Eh? I
no.
feel
No,
like
no, no, no. We're speaking about the debate. All of these will be incorporated. Weaknesses will be highlighted. the leader of the crop. I'm not saying the man can't speak English, but then
Yeah,
we're
but
looking
the
into a
leader of
roster.
the crop is the only one that speaks. The leader of the crop
But
that
if
talk about
it's a
everything
debate,
else.
it's not gonna be just the leaders.
Well, okay, let's start somewhere. Okay, let's use for argument's sake, it is fair. You see what I did there, Chef? I don't agree with him. But
Okay.
we can turn the
Okay.
conversation at another angle and try something else. Okay? Let's
Okay.
say it's fair. Alan. I'm not in the position for myself. So why should I be afraid of something that because the only thing that I can see coming from it is solutions, a perspective. I don't see any negatives that can come for it. And let's just say the negative is you lose public favor. Why should that matter?
What?
If it is that
Why
you
should?
say that you're in, well, you see, that's what I tell all
No,
you.
no, no. Listen.
That's why the current
I'm
crop need
being
to change because here it is. Here it is the angle that we look at things from. We look at things in what I would like to classify as the most small-minded thing. And I use the word small-minded because in the big scheme of things, it does not matter. If I come here and I say, Alan, I think that this is the best way to go about it, right? Chef is our listening audience. Alan gives his perspective, I give my perspective. If Alan's perspective better than mine, I'm gonna say, well, Chef, guess what? Don't even give me your opinion. Alan, I agree. And guess what? If I am able to incorporate you and bring you over and say, Alan, come, how best can we work together? Because I still feel as though that I have a few ideas here that can work, you know. Maybe this one here. But let's keep what you're doing. It's like when you're building a house. You know, the structure might be a certain way, but when it comes to the ending and the railings and all kind of thing, you might want to shift it up a little bit, you know? And that's okay. But when you talk about losing opinion or you're losing public favor, it shouldn't really matter because at the end of the day, you're benefiting the people. So if you're bringing it for the people that you say you're helping, and me one could help, I only got one.
I
You
understand
would
what you're
still.
saying, but it's a very far cry from where we are now. A very, very far cry. And I
I
think
think we'll get there.
people who are minded to stay in politics would definitely try to shy away from a situation that would shine them in a
I
bad
think
light.
that we are going to we're going to get there. We're going to get there.
I would love to see it.
If people like Alan and yourself keep asking difficult questions consistently, somebody can hear you. And somebody can say, well, I got to do better, you know, because Alan coming. And I listened to when you guys did Devon and you spoke about the double salary, and you said make it performance based, and you say you're going to base the performance on if it is that the in the premier's press conference, if you're able to provide information.
I got
See,
a lot of.
it's
I
all
got stuff. I got stuff. I got stuff. I put it in
that's
my
good.
notes. But why I was going to ask you because we were talking about fostering this ability to work together. What do you think of the youth arms organizing some kind of yearly maybe biannual debates so that the bigger politicians could see it, and then not only that, those who will be replacing them could kind of get in the mood so that we could in addition, because I don't feel like we need to finish with town hall meetings, you know, but I do feel like there should be some kind
They
of
need to
debates.
evolve. I think we need to evolve
Yeah.
because it is politics has become more than just a popularity contest. And when I say that, is that people actually listen, and if you and you see that by the views that these different political parties get on their different town hall meetings. I mean, people may not be there physically, but people tune in and people listen, which says to you that people are interested in hearing what it is that people have or what the politicians have in store for them. I think that the youth arms can do more and should do more. And I think that we have to stop looking at it as, oh, well, I'm NRP and I am CCM, so we ain't supposed to collaborate or nothing. Because at the end of the day, the two of you supposed to be looking at bettering the youth for Nevis. And what I find, and what, if you look at high school and different things, there's no continuity in a lot of things. So if it is that you are a big debater in sixth form, if you don't go into politics, why do I ever hear you debate again? And we need to start to look at things like that. And even when it comes to things like representation and these kind of things, I don't know about you, but I go sometimes you see these different seminars and so. I think I saw one the other day where Catherine Sibrooks went to Paris and stuff, and it's like that's amazing. Young people out there talking and engaging on a global stage. How do we prepare people to walk in similar footsteps? And I think the collaboration is needed. And Alan, you charge by the hour, or you charge by the what your billable hours look like? Cause your advice. I put out my book and my pen. I starting to write down a few things.
Yeah. Go ahead. You go take that one there. You go take that one there.
That one is
Quick,
sweet.
I got
As you
copy
say,
right
it's
that
for
one
the
now.
no man, do whatever you want with it. But I feel like there is potential there. As I said, for
I
the
agree.
young
I
people
agree.
get
But then
together.
I also feel like it's something that has to start from the top. It has to start from the top. People need to see the interaction of leaders from different sides when it comes to issues. You know, um, if I can, I would like to use an example. If I can,
Go ahead. Speak.
you know,
Wherever you
I
want.
think the federal relationship is not something for one person to spearhead. The the trying to get what is called a fair share. I don't think that that should be the job of one person being the sitting premier. I think that that's something that takes collaboration. I feel like that's something where the same sort of public consultation should happen because it is a very pressing issue. And I don't think that it will trickle down to youth arms if it's not happening at the top on big issues. So, that's a way to start. That's a way to start.
I had a question on the youth arms, but it was more from the perspective of the point you made earlier, where um, we have a current crop who's not displaying the values you'd like to see. Well, I am of the opinion that the youth arm of a party should essentially be that. It should be the future leaders of the party coming through the ranks as of the youth arm, and that's where you get to kind of filter out talent, because while they're in the youth, they're kind of exposed to the nature of politics, the dynamics of politics. They learn about. I'm hoping that when they're in the youth, they're learning about the Constitution. They're learning about all the things that would kind of help make a future uh, politician. So I would think that for any party who's looking for, who's doing succession planning, the youth would be the first place they would or should look to field the candidates. You were a part of the youth arm of NRP, I think, at some point in time. I'm not, well, I think you mentioned you're no longer a part of the youth arm. Do you think that,
Officially, I
well, you
haven't I
could,
haven't been to a meeting or any of those kind of things in
okay,
a very
okay.
very long time.
Okay, so would do you think that the current functionality of the youth arms, because right now we have two major parties on Nevis, do you think that either one of those youth arms are doing enough to kind of fulfill that mandate?
Well, I think we should be honest, and you know, I don't want to come off biased, but I have yet to see anything done by the CCM youth arm. I don't know if it's because they're in government and they feel like they're doing enough, but I haven't seen them really do anything. And that might just be to my ignorance. Maybe I ain't looking. When you ain't looking for something, you don't necessarily see it. So I think the NRP Youth Arm has done some very good community initiatives, and I think that is important. I think it's important for people to see you, and I feel like it's important for us to help in whatever way that we can. I've seen things with them painting over public places. I've seen things with they're doing community walkthroughs. I saw something there where they were doing like gift baskets and those kind of things, which is really good because I think they help the brand of the party. Like I said, I think that those are conversations that need to start at the top and they sort of trickle down and we bring them in and you know it can really help to better the same said relationship or qualities that you look for in a politician because if you start from so young when you get to that point you would realize that there was a lot of groundwork that went into you getting to where you are and hopefully you won't forget it and I think a lot of our current crop of politicians have short-term memory so you know it would be it's a really good place to start um, like I said, you and Alan need to write a little letter. Alan, I think you should take over the press conference, man, and just give some suggestions. And
We've been trying to figure out how we could get him a press pass so he could go.
yeah, Alan, I think that would be good. But like I said, if I think those are some really good initiatives, and I think that it shouldn't be boiled down to party politics when it comes to the youths. I feel like there can be debates on youth social issues. I think that there's a youth aspect to a lot of our problems in society, and it would be nice to hear about the people that are going through it. What are some of the solutions that they can provide? Um,
Mhm.
I think school has changed a lot since I left, and I'm a young boy. I could only imagine how much it has changed since you guys were in that position. I have a little brother who is 15 years old, and a lot of the stories that he relates to me, I'm like, what? Like, really? What's going on here? Like, it baffles me. And like I said, sometimes it's good to have those conversations with them. Well, what's causing you to do this? What is what is the driving force behind these decisions? And really, it would help to create solutions with them in mind, bringing them a part of the conversation. And I think that's how you encourage people to want to be a part of the change in their own country and to contribute. Like I said, everybody has a part to play, and I don't feel as though having a part to play has an age to it. So I think those are some really good ideas. And if it is that I do go into politics, I've started making a list here. So I have some real good ideas and some good candidates as campaign manager.
We got ideas. We got ideas.
What have you going to ask you?
Well, Alan, seeing as though it seems as though you didn't come prepared, right? I came prepared. So, let me do you the honors.
I just
Let me do
remember
you the
another
honors,
guy.
right?
Guy.
I think it's important for us to speak on the future. Yes, my opinion on certain things, they're my opinions, and we may not agree, but let's shift our attention to some facts that were given today in the Nevis Island Assembly.
Wow.
I think
Oh,
that
you
it
were able
is,
to listen. Okay. I wanted to ask about last night
I
first.
actually have made
Yeah,
it my
that's why I was
business at the
going to ask
last
you a
couple
couple of
times to be present at the house. Unfortunately, because of work commitments, I was not able to be there today. But I like to hear it first, and I don't want nobody come send me no snippets. I want to hear tone, and I want to hear language. So, um, the theme, and I think the theme, I want us to break down this theme. And Alan seems to be somebody who has a lot of deep thinking skills. So we're going to see here the theme: investing for growth, building the framework to support a resilient and sustainable economy. What are your thoughts?
Sounds good to me. I love it.
Amazing,
I see a link
amazing.
between the Saint Kitts whole sustainable what do you call it, sustainable island state, I think they might have been trying to link it in with that somehow on a
And guess
federal
what? We are
level.
Twin Island Federation, so it's okay if we link things now and then. Yeah, I'm all for linking, right? But I feel as though that the words used should not just be words. I think that there should be some action that relate to what it is that you use as the umbrella for your budget. Um, it says investing for growth. I feel like we've made some investments over the last couple of years that haven't really caused us to move anywhere. I don't know if you guys agree with me.
Could you provide
Critter.
me with an example of
Yes.
what you
Examples,
mean,
please.
sir?
The hospital extension, Mondo Track, the Wally Pier, which I frequent. I use the Wally Pier every morning. A wonderful facility. Well, I mean, in the pier and the boat. I don't really know where to think. I got a hard bench and a tent. But there's something coming soon. So I'm looking forward to it. It's blue and it looks comfortable. So let's see what that brings. But when we say investing for growth, right? I think that one thing that I've not seen when it comes to capital projects done by this administration is things that are revenue earning and create employment. And I'm not talking about creating employment, meaning that you gain somebody the opportunity to go cut a little grass and these things. Although those things are important, I feel like it's important for us to create jobs. Instead of you hiring a man to come and clean the grass one day, why that guy can't get a contract that this facility is to be maintained by you, and you think you give them an opportunity to hire somebody else? We're going to use Mondo Track. Why are we moving on to other projects before we finish one?
Well,
Do we
I
have
see. I was going to say some of the projects that you mentioned. I could see how they could say it is a growth project. It's a project intended for growth because with what the Mondo track is supposed to be, I could see it being a catalyst to kind of start sports tourism
When?
or
When though?
stuff like that.
When?
But my thing is the
Coming soon
problem
too.
with
That's coming soon.
the problem is in the execution. The problem is it has been, it is, and I think it will continue to be as long as there isn't a change. The problem is in the execution, so it's not necessarily the project. And I think part of it that is causing the lack of growth is that there is no plan. The projects
But
all
that is what
seem
I'm
to be
saying.
they all seem
That
to
is what I'm
be
saying.
haphazard.
Because, Alan,
They're not cohesive.
so I believe, right, Mondo Track was an amazing idea. I feel like it was needed. Yes, the park became too congested. You needed to take one away so that you could focus on something else. That is what I heard at the time. But then when you look back at it, it's like, well, you ain't plan to come and finish with the thing because they're coming right back. Because they're not proper things put in place there. They're coming right back to where you were trying to free up, the usage in order for you to do other things. And I'm not really seeing that. But then we put so much emphasis on the things that make us look good short term.
Mhm.
It's not
Phase
really
one
helping us.
completed. Yeah, we have a
If it
government
is
of
that
phase.
well, right? I don't that. But then we got to understand, like we keep moving on and moving on and moving on and moving on. So that's what it's going to be. Every time that something comes and before we finish it, we ain't moving. We ain't finishing it. We're just moving on to the next. Like these things don't make
That's
no
what the
sense.
people accept, though, Dark. Don't you agree that in a situation like this, because the Mondo track was incomplete before the last election, the OLPA was incomplete before the last election. Um, I
I
think we
don't. I'm
still
not
have
really
a
one
few
to.
other
I'm not
bits
really
to
one
do.
to. I'm not really one that subscribes to blaming the electorate. You know,
I'm not blaming the
it is.
electorate,
It is.
but go ahead.
It is. We have a government. right? At the end of the day, who whatever. I don't think it should stop the progress of the nation. But I want to know if it is that it doesn't cause some headaches knowing that, well, hey, Mondo Track could have had things like, a little living area for people to stay. It could have had things like a physio room. It could have had things like, you know,
That's those
all
are in
kind
the
of things.
plans.
But
It's gonna
it's so
have a
much things, right?
gym.
Because the space
There's
is
gonna
so
be a
big. The
parking
space is
lot.
so big,
There's gonna be
right? A big
showers.
parking
There's
lot.
gonna
Yeah.
be
In
there's
the
gonna be
following phases,
a
Not only that,
pavilion
the land is so big. You could have
football team.
utilized things like an Olympic swimming pool. You could have tied in things. You could have make it a multi-purpose sporting complex. But yet, you just wanted for to say that you got a Mondo facility and you got some iron bleachers out there with a couple tents.
how
If you want to
how do we
if you
get
want
past
to
that?
swim, there's the swimming in the channel. You could swim to Singits. That's in January. Sign up now. Still
Well, I
available.
can't swim. I can't swim, so.
What I was trying to
But
say earlier is and I'm not blaming the electorate, but we have to admit that there's a lack of accountability. And I think sometimes we as the people kind of forget that the government is working on our behalf. So if they put forward a plan to do a Mondo track, which is a full and complete facility, complete with bleachers, complete with parking, complete with a physio room, all of that, and they don't deliver, who else is to hold them accountable but the public? And I think that is what we've been missing recently, because it's not just one project. It seems to be a trend where the projects are started, they're not completed. Um, and I think it is happening because, to a large extent, it is being allowed by us, the people. Um, if you do it once and you explain it away, and you get away with that, and you do another one and you explain it away again, and that is the norm. I think the lack of accountability kind of creates an environment where that is just the modus operandi. And I think we have to be very careful of that as a people when we start to
yeah,
keep accepting
and
accepting this.
I think another thing that we have to realize too is there's a lot more that goes into being a professional than feeling as though that you have the facility. Because, okay, I'll use a perfect example. I find that when you have young people that come into the professional setup, you spend a very long time actually getting them to be professionals. They come in, they don't really have a base. They're learning on the job every day, as and they're still expected to perform. So I come in on the job having to learn something that I've never been taught before, that doesn't necessarily relate to what it is that I'm here for, but I'm expected to do. And then there's no support. If it is that cricketers want to better their craft, how that happen?
Because
ETW not even got proper lights in order for you, if you, let's say for instance, right, you have to work and you finish working at 4 o'clock and you go home, you come back 5. By the sun down, you can't see nothing, you can't do nothing. But yet, when you go and play under lights, where somebody in Barbados probably playing under lights from the 13, 14 years old. You playing under lights the first time at the 23 and then you still expected. So, how well are we creating this sort of the environment for people to excel?
that is true.
How we do it? Earlier this year, I was in Anguilla and I missed my boat, and why the what you call it, the little departure lounge for the pier. I felt like I was in JFK, comfortable. I just chilled
Well,
here. Wi-Fi.
They had places there for dogs to pee in the airport. Cause JFK got that. JFK got that. If they ain't had that, they need to upgrade a little bit more stuff.
And I feel like that's what we need to look at it, you know. And I feel like those are things that should be taught in school as well. Those are things that we, like you said, education, the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, they need to collaborate some more as to how it is that we provide what it is that people need after school. Because when you leave high school, it's a whole different ball game, you know. It's a whole different ball game. How well are we preparing people to enter the world? And mind you, not to get by, you know, but to be ahead. Because that's effectively what learning is about, you know. You learn in order for you to get ahead. So if it is that you're coming out of school and then you still find yourself 5 paces off of people that's supposed to be in the same position as you, how well are we doing?
That's how come I was asking you about how many people on the professional teams earlier. Because I wanted to know how well are we doing actually.
I think that whole
all I
Mondo
can
track area should have been it should have been envisioned to be the new sporting
complex. I think it needed to be a big
yes,
sporting
move
complex,
cricket over
and
here.
we needed to tie sports more into our curriculum. We needed to tie the things like theater arts, you know, these things more into our curriculum. Make it a part of things so that people have options. The more options you create for people, somebody
So,
gonna find something to hold on to.
Mr. Brown, you are suggesting to me that if you were going to build something such as a film industry, that having theater arts in the schools would be an appropriate way to get people so that you have people into that type of thing. You're saying that that would be
Definitely.
something that
I
would...
don't know. I don't know how versed you guys are in the young people things like TikTok. You guys know about that?
me not depend. I don't want the Chinese
I
man
be on the
but
I
TikTok
see a lot of
sometimes
grays
too.
in Alan Beard, you know. So I got
oh
to
yeah,
ask.
oh yeah,
I got to
oh
ask.
yeah. I'm distinguished. I'm a
So
distinguished man.
you know, and you see, there's a lot of characters here in Nevis. You know, and there's a lot of people who have been doing some very good video editing and things like this. And these are skills that they have, some of them have had to teach themselves, you know, the impersonation of people that they see. You know, I remember in school, I had a boy who was in my class, and he was amazing at imitating people. Till he started making his own little videos, and you know, you call him, the people would say he's a meme. But at the end of the day, the talent that it takes for someone to be able to do these things consistently and to be good at it, you know, why wasn't he given the opportunity to make a career out of that? I mean, we could say that we are a small nation. We could say that we are a young nation, 40 years. Whoa. But at the end of the day, when are we going to catch up? And when are we going to really start to ask ourselves, hey, am I doing enough for kids? How well are these kids going out into the world and being able to represent St. Kitts and Nevis to the best of their ability? And guess, some of us will be fine. Some of us have been doing well. There's a lot of young people in St. Kitts and Nevis who are thriving and I would say have been very proud, you know? And when I see things like that, it caused me to kind of say to yourself, like, boy, you know, this is where it really matters. You know, the contribution here is felt because I could say to myself, well, I remember I went to school with this person, you know, I went to school with that person. You know, you feel a little bit more connected to the wins of other people. But the government needs to do a little bit more. We need to provide some support. We need to provide, and I'm not saying, you know, go out there and give somebody $100,000 and tell them, hey, go to school. But sometimes it's the website. Give me the website. Write me a reference. You know, ask me what my interests are and how best do I suit your educational journey to what it is that you want to achieve. When I was in fifth form, I used to think that I wanted to be an architect. I don't even like buildings. Like
Just
I
sounded
don't
good.
have like I was like, Maya, you're going titty, you're walking around the school with your t-square in your back, and so you're like, hey, well, But really and truly, like, no, but you think anybody in school tell me that, massage therapy would well, I can't really use massage therapy because I saw where massage therapy can take someone. But nobody talks about the other capacities in which you can still be a part of what it is
Yeah,
that you
the
want to do.
exposure. Hmm.
You know? I think some people forget that there are a lot of other things that you can do and get the same sort of reward. If it is that, some people are rewarded financially, whatever it is, but there's still something out there for you to find. But how do we provide that environment? And that is what I ask people all the time.
Um, in my estimation, there are have to be clicks, and if the clicks are successful, people gonna say, "I want to join up. I want to be in a that." All of these things that sometimes we wonder how we are gonna change it. It's gonna depend on success. You saw your father, as you say, and you see which part massage therapy could go. And should I use had a model for success?
Hmm.
But I
And
actually never
you,
thought that I would walk in those footsteps.
I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is you
You
saw the model
exposed.
and where
Hmm.
it could go. That album you say is the same way if
Yeah.
somebody go up in a banker house, a
Hmm.
lawyer house, whoever house, you see that model and you see where it could go.
And then you
Uh,
wanna joke? I'm gonna share a joke with you and Chef. And this is a this is a real talk, a real what you call it? Real entertainment
real talk,
network,
real
Real
talk, kind of
entertainment. Yeah.
exclusive.
real talk on, right? I give you exclusive. My biggest regret in terms of my educational journey is not going to UE, right?
You
How?
did
And
not miss it. You
you
know
could
those.
say what you want.
Go ahead,
You could say
speak
what
to
you
me.
want, right?
Speak to me. Go ahead.
But now that I am slowly developing my passions are maturing, I would say, right? I want to use that. And I realize how much regional integration is important to me and how much I crave an understanding of other Caribbean cultures, different islands and what they offer, and you know how I realize that we are so connected but yet so different. And the level of interest that I have in that now. I have friends that went to UWI and I sit down there for hours and just listen and I say, wow, why? I wish I had that experience. I wish I had that experience because even though I had a good experience and I'm thankful for it, that experience to me would have been a lot more fulfilling and it probably would have gotten me to where I am a lot quicker, in my opinion. But I never saw UWI as an option. Nobody ever come to me and said, boy, the University of the West Indies, they offer this. And some might say, and I wouldn't wrong them, maybe in high school, I wasn't really interested. But at
Okay.
the end of the day, I'm just saying it wasn't put in your face. And I
The
feel
next
as
thing.
though that is,
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah.
and that is something that I feel like we need to work on. We need to have those conversations about putting a bit more trust in our educational system. That you can go to UE for a lot less, and in my opinion, come out with a lot more
How,
life
how do you
skills.
I could understand that.
how you think we are gonna bridge this gap when there are persons in Nevis? You want them to buy into the education system, but they will tell you, Alan, the world flat. How
And I just
how
feel like
how
I
are
think
we
more people
gonna
just need
bridge
to
this
share.
gap?
But I feel like more
Alan,
people need to
liars are
share.
liars.
Well, you're a liar, innit? Are you a liar? This is your chance to tell the people differently.
No, but I'm just talking about people's skepticism in the system,
Yeah, and
because on
I
one
understand
hand
where you're
we
coming
want
from.
people to get more skills, to feel like, by you need to educate yourself, but then we got people who fundamentally
Alan, you know what I
they
think?
don't
You know what I think? You know what I think we need to do? When I was in sixth form, right? In my last year, we had this thing called a Horizon lecture every Friday. It was mandatory. If you in went to the Horizon lecture, you were not able to play any sport on the weekend. You
Yes.
basically that's it, right? And what these Horizon lectures were, there were different people giving their life experiences, and there were one of them that I related to. His name was Major King. He was in the army, and he fought in Afghanistan and stuff like that. And he said that, at any given time you are able to change your perspective and you're able to determine what is enough for you. And I was very baffled by that. I mean, enough is for you. Yeah? I mean, and it's only when I was doing my university application and I said to myself, well, okay, I can see. I can just apply. I applied to 5 different courses and what's not. And I got a scholarship for the degree that I did. And I said, okay, cool, I'm gonna take it. When I was there and you saw where things could go, I was here saying to myself, well, it kept coming back to me. You have the ability to determine what is enough for you. Boom, 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 boom. I hear saying, enough. What is enough? And then your definition of enough start to evolve. Because what I saw as enough then wasn't enough now. And when you're young, you're kind of chasing, okay, well, I want to be a lawyer because, lawyers do drive nice vehicles and lawyers do make a lot of money. And but then I realized that enough for me is making a difference. Enough for me became how it is that I could help somebody feel better. Enough for me became how it is that I could provide long-term solutions to people and their pain. And Alan like to try in, he like to allude to me going into politics. So, enough for me has become how well, I could provide solutions to the problems in which people face. And I think that sometimes in the moment you might not understand what somebody is saying, but there will be times in life where it kind of send you back to that moment in which you heard it. And I feel like we need to give that audience to school leavers. We need to start to really prepare them for life and let people who have walked similar, you know, journeys to them to share the experience. Because if it is that I could have a little question and talk with somebody now, if I was to be invited somewhere, right? And this is not time for I to go tell people where you invite me nowhere, okay? But if I was to get that opportunity, and for me to tell somebody that, hey, being a cricketer isn't all of it, being a cricketer is actually very hard mentally. But you could be on the side like me. You help to make people feel better. You help to keep them on the park. You know, at the end of the day, it's a lot more smiling, and you ain't gonna get dropped so easy. Hard to get dropped when you're on the side. Management team hard to get dropped. You know,
Still get to
but it's
travel.
perspective. You get to travel. You get to jump up. You get a medal when they win. I mean, there's a lot of other things that you get in a different capacity. You know, and my journey was a lot different. You know, Alan's journey is probably a lot different to mine, share yours as well. But it would resonate with somebody because at the end of the day, just like the different Caribbean islands, we are all different, but yet we're very much connected. Our our ways of doing things are very much connected, and we need to start to utilize this thing called networking, especially with kids who are going into the world of work, people who are going on to pursue degrees and stuff like this. We need to start to have realistic conversations of, okay, well, you need now to learn how to survive outside of structure, and you're going to have to learn to create your own structure. Because if it is that the longer it takes you to learn to create your own structure as an adult, is the further behind that you're going to fall. And we live in a society where creating your own structure is the only way you survive. But that's a conversation that people need to have.
It's
Because it's
very
not all a bed of
important. Yeah.
roses.
Mr. Browne, I didn't see you last night at the consultation over the airport project. Were you following this consultation, sir?
Yes, I was following it. Unfortunately, I couldn't be there because, similar to how we talk about ratios, I have what, 12 people, 12 programs and sort of thing. I'm very, very busy schedule, very, very busy schedule. But I took the time to tune
No,
in.
I just want to know that you tuned in.
And would you like to know my opinion? I don't really like to just give my opinion. I have to be asked
Yeah,
if it is. Would you
you
like
will
my
start
opinion?
off anyway. Yeah.
I was very disappointed. And disappointed because, yes, I was actually looking forward to the initiative. I think it was a very good one, and it's something that we should replicate anytime before we start major things. Get the people's consultation, get people's opinions, see what their thoughts, their concerns with, because I think what a lot of people don't realize is that development can be scary. Realizing the world is moving a lot faster than you may have anticipated is a very scary feeling. And we will start to comfort people in these worries and have these conversations. But then when you see that all the questions that were asked were met with well, we don't have that information right now. We're coming back to that. This is just the start of the conversation. The start! So you come with nothing for us to have a conversation on. So it's almost like, hey, this is really a formality. I'm going to present something. You're not going to walk away with anything. But I hope we can do this again. I don't know what you guys thought of it, because I didn't really get much information of it.
I
Were
don't
you
know if
able
I
to
can say.
were you able to follow the Hispanic gentleman as
No,
he spoke?
unfortunately, that is not one of my strong points. I was never really
No, he
bilingual, and
spoke
it was very
English,
difficult.
No,
Yeah,
he
no,
spoke in
but
English.
I'm telling you, I'm not bilingual. You could say you spoke English, but I'm telling you, I'm not bilingual. But guys, I think oftentimes, and I don't really want to be somebody who constantly digs at the negatives. I feel like what we can applaud is it is a step in the right direction having forums like this. What we must say that it has to do better. I feel as though that if you're going to come to these sort of things, be very serious about it. Don't do these things as just formalities, because it sets the standard of how it is people view these projects. Because at the end of the day, I want to have a level of confidence in the people that are tasked with bringing development to the country. These are very serious issues. And Alan, well, our premier likes to use the thing that serious things demand serious attention from serious people or something to that effect.
A lot of serious. He compounds the
Yeah, a lot of
serious.
serious. But yet we are not
That
seeing
was some
that in the
serious.
level of how things are brought. And I just feel as though that last night was a step in the right direction. So it's almost like you take 2 steps back, but then you take 6 backwards, because at the end of the day, what did we gain from it? A good initiative, but what did we gain from it?
I
What
think
was
it was
your
a terrible first
expectation when you
impression.
What was your
Yeah.
expectation? What did you expect to see? At the bare minimum.
One, I expected to see a cost breakdown. I expected to kind of have a rough idea of what it is to expect. Because I don't think that it is, I'm not going to sit here and say that it isn't needed. I feel as though that if it is that we're going to take tourism seriously, we need a proper pier, we need a proper airport. These are just the things that we need in order to compete. Because at the end of the day, it is a competition. My personal opinion on how it is that we go about that competing is very much different to some people. But again, I still feel as though, for this argument's sake, let us say that this is the direction you're going to go in. I'm going to support it, because at the end of the day, it can be beneficial. But you need to come with numbers. You need to come with a plan, an actual you know, let me buy into this philosophy. Let me buy into what it is that you're trying to sell to me. And I don't think that that was done last night, and it's going to be very difficult to do that going forward. It didn't leave a sense of confidence in the people. And I can say this, that as a resident of St. James, you see, I said that in a very soft tone, because I want Alan to understand the beauty that comes with being from St. James. Eh? He wouldn't understand. But he's a tongue man. He's a tongue man. He wouldn't understand. But what is important and that we realize is that the people of St. James have been crying out for some development. Need something to boost, the people over there. And losing Nisbet Plantation, the airport coming up would actually be a good way for a lot of the local people in St. James to find, work very close to them. So it is something that I feel as though that they were looking forward to. It is an alternative. It is something that they, I've been hearing it a lot of times, so I know people are looking forward to it. And I just feel like they really dropped the ball last night, and it'll be very hard for them to come back from. But, not because something is difficult means that it can be done, and I actually hope that they do come better.
I agree what you're saying. I expected them to at least have, even if it's not a final prototype, something to show that, hey, this is what we're trying to do, and I didn't see that. A lot of the information, a lot of the questions that were asked didn't have direct answers. You said you're a resident of St. James. I think one of the questions that some of the residents had at the top of their mind had to do with not just the strip being extended, because that would take lands from some people, but there also is a plan for the diversion of the current roadway, and I'm sure that as well will have to factor in that people's land is going to be taken up for that. And I think that might be one of the things that the people of St. James are disappointed in not having answers to.
And to be honest, and that's why I said that sometimes I feel as though that my way of going about things is not really thing. Because I'm somebody who believes in us actually, being a two island, one destination sort of place. And if it is that we are going to take the road of wanting to do things big and elaborate on our own and go, and do these things, at least come with a bit of seriousness to it, man. Give somebody else the opportunity to do it. No. I don't feel as though that I feel that they dropped the ball. I don't think they understood how important something like this was to the people of St. James.
It's going to be hard to get more people to come to the other consultations as well, with the first one being, I think, this way.
No, man. They're going to improve.
And I hope for that. And I feel like, shows like this are very important. And the reason why is sometimes you gotta be able to take constructive criticism, man, because that's the only way you can get better. And again, I am not expecting perfection from anybody, because we are human and we all make mistakes, and we don't always go about things that are going to please everybody. And I feel like politics is one of those things you can't please everybody. But you could come to people with a little bit of compassion. Compassion is the word that I want to use, because I don't think people outside of St. James realize how much the people of St. James depended on something like Nisbet. We may look at it and you say, oh, only 30, 40 something people were working down there, but 30, 40 people were from St. James, and different parishes. And that is something that just up and gone with no sort of information about it. So when it is that you hear there are plans in the works for some sort of employment and for people to really start to, say to yourself, well, maybe somebody was saying, by a new airport coming, I can go get a taxi. When you come there as a listening man to see what the plan be and how it is that as an entrepreneur, maybe that you can capitalize on a project like this. and people can't give you no sort of information, you go back home and you ask yourself, well, why? What are you going to do?
Well, with regards to Nisbets, there actually has been some announcement that there is a new owner, and from all indications, if we are to trust the premier, that it should be renovated because there are concessions being given to the new owner to have
Oh
it.
yes, concessions were
But he said the
mentioned.
premier said this. He said this in the
Yeah,
community
yeah.
calendar.
No. This was today during the budget. I thought you say you listen to the budget.
I
Yes,
didn't
I
see that
there,
listen
part.
and read.
there,
I listen and read every word my premier say. I listen to them and then I read them
there are
and I
concessions
highlight
given
it.
to the new owner to kind of spur the the
Not concessions,
renovation so that it can
significant
come back.
concessions.
Significant concession.
Yes, significant,
So
Okay,
that is
that's
massive.
good.
something
And you
that
see,
St. James
those
can
are
look
things that I
forward
feel as
to.
though we should commend private partnerships in order to move the country forward. Those are things that I could commend and I could get a little clap for, you know. But on the other hand, the consultation last night, I'm left wanting.
What
Okay.
other areas would you like to see as an uh, uh, at the forefront for development in St. James?
I think, and I made mention of this the last time, I would really like to see a little small business complex. I think there are a lot of talented people in St. James that, showcase their skills without having a place to call it their business place, you know? And I feel as though that it is a good investment to make in young people. If it is that you offer, let's say, a 2-year lease at some sort of concession for people to learn about entrepreneurship during that time, they learn to market their business, they learn to, target their prices, stuff like that. They learn to file their own taxes, all these kind of things, they're in an effort. It's almost like a small little stepping stone to really becoming a full-fledged entrepreneur. You know, I would really like to see something like that. I would like to see a community sort of like somewhere where people could go to get help. When I say help, meaning it could be academic, it could be a counselor, something, but just some like a central area where people you could go and ask questions. I feel like a lot of times a lot of young people, and I find myself in the gas station a lot these days at Expetual, and a lot of people sometimes will come and ask some very good questions. Like yesterday I was in there and somebody came and asked me, well, what are some good local things to invest in? Asking about like National Bank shares and stuff like this. And I was like, I think a gas station is really where you want to come and ask these kind of questions. But like if the community centers had a different function in terms of like a social arm to it, in a sense, to the communities, where somebody is there ever present, kids can come there, get help with after school, you know, adults can come there and inquire about certain things. You keep little like Monday, let's say Monday is kids night, and Tuesday is a quiz night for adults in the community. Something that really brings the parishes together. I feel that's something that's really needed, because I think we're losing that sense of the community raising a child. I remember back in the day you
I
couldn't go down the road and ain't say good morning, and now
no,
you
no,
could do
you
it because
can't.
nobody tell you nothing. Because everybody saying, "Boy, me ain't gonna tell so and so child nothing because so and so can come from my head." And I feel like we need to do social initiatives to kind of bring back that, because I feel as though that the community has a big part to play in the redevelopment moving forward.
I think that's what, in essence, the community centers are created for. Is just that the problem is the community centers are serving different purposes currently. So the purpose for which it is intended is not being fulfilled in the community. So I think that's something that we have to address, having the community centers being used as community centers and not um,
Yeah,
as what should
definitely.
be temporary storehouses for other reasons, and then not being transferred back to what the purpose is.
Yep. Something else I would like to see in St. James is yeah, is a good sporting complex. I think But it's time for us to really get back to what I said, like, community initiatives and stuff like that. And, some place where people can come and say, I feel a sense of pride towards. And I ain't talking about just like a playground where you throw a little topsoil pan and you paint the gate and things like that. I ain't talking like that. I mean something that got like a full swing, something that got something for everybody. They got tables where people can sit down, enjoy, whatever it is that's going on. A full, cricket pitch, the lights, there are football players. Let's
Shower, shower, shower.
shower, dressing rooms, you know,
We got
places where you
ladies
could.
cricket. I think we would like to do some ladies football. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So all these
Yep,
things.
definitely. And another thing that I feel as though that we could do is little soft skills, like a little technical area where people could learn different skills. Even for, I don't want to share. I feel like retired people we deem retired still have a very big part to play, and I feel like utilizing them in our communities in different aspects is something that would be really good. So you got like a St. James mentorship program or something where retired persons are helping younger persons in the community, and you build a sort of network within the community for people to really come together. Something like that would be really good as well.
Oh, you wasn't listening in the budget for you, man. The Tibet Center is gonna do all of that, you know, sir? All these soft skills.
That ain't in the budget
It's
every year. I
all.
think you copy and paste now, yeah, Alan Carr.
Listen, I am going to look for things that were copy and pasted because I spot couple trends already. It's 2 minutes to the hour.
Another thing, and not just for St. James, but what I would like for us to stop doing is to talking about what we're going to do. We got it, because guess what? What I see, we have all the answers, but yet none of them being displayed.
Oh, you mean the talking about talking?
Talking about talking is like you got this, you got that, but what ain't happening? I,
Uh,
I, I, I'll pull this. I think the premier said today in the budget that doctors need to go and specialize,
yes,
right?
yes.
I going to specialize, and you can't even finish the expansion for me to go and open the specialty or to provide the service that you want me to provide. I mean, sometimes if people see a push in the direction, there's a moving trajectory in a direction, people are more inclined to go away and put themselves in the best position to facilitate whatever it is that is moving forward. But you can't go and ask something of people that you ain't doing yourself. Because people can say, well, guess what? I want a better facility to work at.
I want to encourage the young people to force it. If you got 10 I want to be something, they're going to got to do something. I going to start the industry. As you say, get comfortable with being uncomfortable. All these things.
Right? I think those are
We,
those
we,
things that we need to.
we might got to bring back you and Devon together in the future.
Definitely.
But it was a nice 2 hours. I hope
It
you were
was.
made comfortable. Not too much hard questions, as you say. The long time I don't ask nobody no hard question. The
Well,
last person was Jack.
I hear you. It's something else. Yeah. But yeah, guys, I wanna thank you for the opportunity to be here and to, voice my opinion. This is something that I've been looking forward to for a very long time. I'm a big fan of the show, and I hope that everyone that heard me tonight understands that everybody has a part to play. It's not easy, and if it was easy, it wouldn't be meaningful. And if it is that you take away one thing from tonight is to play a part. Every small contribution helps to push the boat just a little further. And let's try to make the country the best that it could be.
Yeah,
Wonderful
and if you
said.
can, get a jacket and tie and bust a little less joke in class. Those are the morals that you learn.
Those are the takeaways.
Yeah.
But
I
like I
really
said,
enjoyed the
I'm back
conversation with you tonight, Darc.
All right, hopefully you have me back soon.
Oh yeah. I was saying the government should identify the area they wish to develop and offer incentives. Bye.
Definitely.
Your auntie love you tonight. That done gone, no? So good night, people.
Oh, he's gone.
Um, yeah. I'm going to my next work. I'm going to the topics right after this. So I'll see you all shortly. Chef, thank you for joining me. Everybody have a good night. Chef, you can say your
Good night,
final word.
everybody. Good night. It's great, always great being back. Somebody was asking if I'll be back again. I don't know. I come in when necessary, but I'm very happy to be here. I enjoyed the conversation with Darc very much, and then I learned that we're related. So now I have to figure out how that is. I should expect that because a Lewis is a Lewis, and he displays Lewis qualities.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
Okay.
So, good night, everybody. Thanks for having me, Alan.
Yeah, later.
We on the corner, man. We on the corner, man. We on the corner, man. With that real talk. We on the corner, man. With that real talk. Real talk. Real talk. Real talk.
Lotus blossom, don't cry. Without any sun. Lotus blossom, don't cry. Without any sun. Lotus blossom, don't cry. Without any sun. Lotus blossom, don't cry.
Real talk. Real talk.